information together, right?
Yeah, put all the information together. Yeah, absolutely. To compile it in a readable format. So why don't you make a computers check? It's not going to be particularly hard. I'm going to make it average.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not going to be particularly hard. This is easy. This is just sifting through data that's already there. All the hard part was what Jax did earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, finding the password. Yeah.
Oof.
There we go. One success.
Oof.
That's all I needed.
That's what?
That's all. Yeah.
Fair. That's all you needed. So yeah, you cross-reference everything and you begin pulling up information about like suspicious deaths, suspicious like chemical or drug-related deaths, on and around the same type of description that Zian has, and you find a couple of matching entries. One appears to be an elderly gentleman, elderly human male, who appears to have like died in his home due to a heart failure. But the autopsy detected like signs of this weird substance in it that was sent to the lab to kind of investigate what was going on. It was ruled as a death by natural causes in the end of the day. And I think that the lab results, when they came back, they're also kind of attached to this file. The lab results stated that it appeared to be something ingested, perhaps some sort of like new source of it. Apparently, according to the lab that ran the tests, it appeared to be some sort of like biological substance that maybe was relative to tainted food or something, sour in the drink that had no relation to the actual cause of death. So that was kind of the determination from the lab at that time. Obviously, with your information that it wasn't that, that makes a difference. But it's in the logs for the DEA because they would have been the ones investigating that sort of thing. So the next one is probably a young Rhodian woman, probably in her early 20s, let's say, and it appears that she was transient, so she was homeless, and the initial call in which officers responded to was a report of an assault with a deadly weapon. When they arrived on scene, the woman was bleeding from multiple stab wounds on her body. But in her hand, she held this powdery substance that was unidentified at the scene. Upon bringing it back, it was determined that it was spice that had been laced with some other substance that was unidentified at the time. And when that occurred, the lab conducted a test on it and determined that it might have been some sort of cleaning agent that it was cut with in order to enhance the
quantity.
Yeah, the quantity, exactly, so you can sell more.
Although it's one of those drug dealer things. They're all scum.
Yeah.
They do those things.
See, but here's the thing again. The lab results were perfectly clear, and you totally would have believed that if you didn't have all this other information that that a Rhodian woman by this exact physical description in the medical research was not being tested for this sort of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those are probably the two that you have that kind of correlate with each other. It should be noted as well, the elderly human male and the younger Rhodian female, were some of the ones, Ian, that seemed like the most suspicious.
Okay.
They were earlier test subjects, and it seemed like they were perhaps not given a choice.
Okay.
They don't have waivers tied to their medical records.
Gotcha. So, like, when it was more dangerous, and they were trying to figure it out some more. Okay.
Right, before they started doing it officially. So, here's the thing. and I'll just mention this so that everybody's aware of it. This kind of gives you ammunition against two individuals now, right? Like against the woman, against Paola. Obviously, she had this incriminating evidence that kind of details some stuff that could be tied back to her lab in some way that you could damn her with. But it also kind of ties Amaranto in it, because I think that to anyone looking at this any deeply, it would smell suspiciously like a cover-up. Like, with the two pieces of information together, it definitely seems like a cover-up. Like, seems like someone was intentionally making these things look like not what they were, so that no more questions were asked of it.
Also, because of Jax's natural distrust of my striker, and because how none of these people seem to, like, while Amaranto very obviously looks like he's helping, or could be helping Arcanis, everyone else seems like they could or couldn't be. Jax is starting to feel like Mai is probably involved in this, but not necessarily Arcanis is involved in this. So he's less inclined to do what my striker asked at this stage, because he's not convinced that it would actually help him with Arcanis. He thinks, if anything, she could be setting him up to to take another hit, as it were.
Totally possible. Yep.
Yeah.
If we were to embarrass these individuals, could we get them removed so they were no longer a threat for whoever wants to kill them?
I think we've only been asked by the Slicer guy to embarrass them. I think we should do that and see what happens, because taking it further than that could get us involved in something that we don't quite understand or want to be involved in.
Well, I mean, we haven't really put the pieces together, right? Like, there's still that perception check. Like, there could be more.
Indeed.
Like, this is definitely like the tip of a conspiracy sort of thing. Like, there's definitely something going on much deeper. Like, wasn't there like a city representative person? Like, maybe they.
So Dash is having dinner with.
Dash is gonna go have dinner with. But upon Mouse being like, yeah, but there's all this other information left. Jax I'll delve into those files.
Yeah.
And
so
make that perception check.
Your perception check. I'm gonna make it hard just because it's matching up things, like connecting the dots based on just the information you have in front of you. But I'm giving you a boost dice because of the previous successes.
I was gonna ask for a boost dice for those things.
Yeah, I'd like to see if is it possible for me to give a boost dice too, because I can help with the perception, and I also put together the information.
Yeah,
and everything.
absolutely.
So I've already seen it.
Absolutely, I can add another boost dice on there. I got no problem with that.
Cool.
So this is to just to be clear, this is to kind of put together 1 and 1 or 2 and 2, however quick maths you want to do. This is to put together the information that was gathered from the records between Kellyanne and Wilhelm, as well as the rest of the information that was found in the
safe.
In the safe, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So, let's roll a perception check for me. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So, you could reduce your strain with that, and you get a bunch of successes here. And I think
I actually only have 1 strain left, so I have an extra advantage.
Okay. You can end up passing a blue dice, quote unquote.
Cool.
To the next person that makes a check. So I think that what you get here is, there's a couple of things that jump out at you. One, because of a personal record of data between Wilhelm and Kellyanne, you end up making a connection that perhaps would have gone kind of unnoticed before. So Kellyanne, if we all remember, she was like a big like political humanitarian. She spent a lot of her time like planning rallies and doing the kind of politico-social butterfly thing. And it appears that there was a point in time in which she was following a story that involved the DDF, and actually came very close to exposing some high-ranking individuals. And the reason why you make this connection is because there appears to be like a date on a calendar from Wilhelm that was canceled. And when asked about it before, you asked him, why it was canceled or whatever. It's stated that, she was following up some big story and she had to go meet with some representatives from the DDF. And he remembers specifically that she, because again, the DDF being people that were kind of like maybe her enemy a little bit. She had to go meet with representatives from the Drug Enforcement Agency, and afterwards, Wilhelm recalls her conversation with him afterwards that stated that she wasn't expecting for Captain Amaranto to be there, but it appears that there was some sort of conversation that was had, and specifically, Wilhelm probably states further in his data that she dropped the story after that she kind of stopped pursuing that, and he thought that was very strange because she was kind of a go-getter. She wasn't really afraid of anything, and she would follow a story to the end if it meant that it would change something for the better.
So
but after that yeah, go ahead.
From his notes, does it sound like she stopped because she was scared specifically?
No, I think that the connection you make is, it sounds like
she was paid off.
Yeah, she might have been paid off, or there might have been some sort of bribe, or maybe some sort of agreement as well. Because I think Wilhelm's notes go on further to state that from then on, her reputation kind of skyrocketed. She kind of became big after that, and that kind of led into the initial opening of the humanitarian efforts that the information that Zian found about that cafe where that picture was there, and both Monica and Kellyanne were both there. I think in Wilhelm's notes as well, with your third success here, it states like a lot about that whole the Xenotarian effort. It states a lot about how that went down, and how via some of her friends, and he puts that in quotation marks because he's not sure, he was never told who they were, they introduced her to Monica, and that's who she teamed up with to make this whole Xenotarian, like, low-income housing project a success, was teaming up with Monica, which kind of brings it around full circle for those paying attention, where there is at least a thread that connects every single one of these people, as thin as it may be. But as we know, when it comes to stuff like this, if there's anything that connects them, there's probably more of it somewhere. So I think that's what your success here gets you, Jax, is it gets you the final pieces of the thread that kind of connect all the way from the judicial clerk to the humanitarian who's now dead, to the captain of the DEA, to the research project that the scientist was doing. And I think that the only thing that doesn't really tie in here, and the only thing that doesn't really make sense, is Wilhelm, right? So Wilhelm is connected via all of this evidence only because of the relationship that he had with Kellyanne. Now, it should be noted as well, and you would all know this as kind of a side note, is Wilhelm, being an influential businessman, has a public face on a lot of things. However, he's also married. So it seems like...
Well, what?
It seems like one of two things here have happened. Either Wilhelm has been tied up in this somewhat accidentally, or maybe he was being used himself. Maybe he was being used in some way to garner these different relationships, right?
I did not clock on that Mans was married.
Yeah. So the relationship and that's why him and Kellyanne kept their relationship a secret, because he had a lot more to lose should it come to light.
Kellyanne is a horn wrecker. Oh my god.
And now we know how to embarrass Wilhelm as well.
Exactly.
Oh.
Now you have all the information on Wilhelm and how to embarrass him as well.
Now you know the rest of the story.
I think we need to contact Dash.
Oh, don't
Before
worry.
he goes on a date.
Well, hold on. So, this takes a while for the four of you to kind of sift through this, right?
Yeah.
So it's later on into the night, I think, when you all finally reach a conclusion on this and realize that no matter how small, everybody's kind of connected here, and there's obviously something going on. It seems to stem from this weird drug that's going on. But it's clear that everybody is kind of connected in some way. And on a planet that has billions of people, that doesn't just happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, when that conclusion is reached, what's the conversation between the group of you? That's what I want to see first.
So, what are we gonna do about this? Like, these people are doing something terrible. Like, I think that we're right, and I think we should help the hacker. Slicer.
They need to be brought to justice.
I don't want to, like, I believe that Amaranto is helping Arcanis, so I don't want to see him harmed, and I would like involve myself to protect him. But at the same time, like, I do think that all these things that are being done should come to light. So I think we should help the hacker. I don't know if we should just bring the information we have to them, or if we should try and act on it ourselves.
No, we should make this public. We should.
But surely, if we wanted to make it public, going to them with the information would be an easy way of doing that. They probably have.
To who? The police?
No, to the hackers.
The Slicer? Yeah.
The Slicer. The Slicer probably has some way of disseminating this information.
Well, I could also. I mean, he seemed to already have the information.
Yeah, it seemed like he. Well, yeah. So I think that he didn't have what you guys have now, right? But only because of physical assets, right?
Mm.
He probably found out through other methods that there were things going on, looking maybe at wire transfers or stuff like that, right? But he probably didn't have enough evidence to go to anyone with it. If you brought him this, then yeah, he probably could. That probably would satisfy the requirement. Just to be like totally clear.
Jax's question was he asking us to embarrass them or asking us to get information to allow him to embarrass them?
I think that either one in this scenario would work. If you provided him the means to do it himself, that would satisfy the requirement of helping him.
Okay. Well, in that case,
it also removes your name from it, right?
Yeah, that's. So here's the thing. Jax very, very much agrees with the group that this is what should be done. He also doesn't feel confident, and he's expressed this openly. He also doesn't feel confident in doing Mai's bidding that it will help him with Arcanis. But he also, just in the case that this will blow back on Arcanis, he doesn't want to have his name attached to it, where Arcanis could put him more in the bad books. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a bit of him like being like, this is what I think we should do, but I want to cover my ass a bit.
I think that's kind of everybody. Like, this is what we should do, but we should also not take repercussions if we can help it.
Yeah. Is there like any way to find out? So one of the people involved is like a law clerk or a judge or whatever, right?
So she and her thing is, she's kind of like she's been accused, quote unquote, by the Slicer of being like kind of corruptive, like altering the perceptions and maybe cooking the books so that the people who are important, the actual like chief justices, don't see things exactly how they are and end up passing laws and statutes that help her cause as opposed to help the cause that's actually happening.
Right. Is there do we know if the actual like people in charge are corrupt, or if they're just getting bad information, or do we have a way to kind of figure that out?
So
is there any way to like try and find?
So Jax's response to that would be that you are responsible for the people underneath you. So if they're getting bad information and they're not getting it checked, then it's on them.
Okay, but like we take like to take a branch, a page out of the real world, like there's a bunch of dumb people who just rely on whatever people hand them in politics, and I'm expecting it to be basically the same thing here. So
yeah, I think that the implication from the information you have is that that is what's happening, is that they're being fed misinformation so that they make decisions that they believe to be correct.
Yeah.
But they don't have all the pieces. It's like playing chess, but you can only see half the board, right?
Yeah. So could we like somehow facilitate a meeting between policymakers to kind of bring this to light? You know, get it to be like a senator's pet project.
Oh, like contact somebody in the executive branch of the Druckenwell government. So like, here's the thing: Druckenwell has representatives. They have a representative in the Senate for the Commonwealth of Worlds, right?
I don't know if that would satisfy the hackermans in terms
and I don't want to do that anyway, because I think that it'll get lost.
It might. It all depends on who the senator. So there's 2 senators, right? There's 2 representatives from this planet that exist.
But that's the thing, like, who knows who else they have paid off,
right?
Like,
and they're like, you're not just gonna get a meeting with them either, right? Like that's probably the other problem here is
we could probably make a meeting happen.
I mean, you do.
I'm a pretty convincing guy.
You are a pretty convincing guy. You could probably make a meeting happen if they're even on planet. That is,
yeah.
But it probably won't be the way you want it to happen.
Yeah, Mouse could just sneak into their house. So,
just a question about Wilhelm. The slicer, did he mention what he should have done?
So you mean like what his offense was?
Yeah.
Yeah, so his offense was essentially bleeding the people dry for their hard-earned money by convincing them they needed his materials. So like essentially being not a corrupt businessman, but
businessman.
Essentially the hacker's like allegations weren't 100% accurate, but he was definitely on like the right track.
Right, exactly.
So just another question. He was married. Did he have any kids?
Yeah, he probably has 2 kids, boy and a girl.
Yeah, adult or?
Yeah, one of them. They're probably 10 and 6. The girl's older.
Yeah. Okay, I was wondering if it could be the hacker. The slicer.
Yeah, one of them could be the slicer. Yeah,
and one of them could be good with the cyber.
Never know.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that while that discussion's going on, I do want to get to Dash, because Dash is on a very important mission right now.
To get laid.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So
that would be a coincidence.
So Dash, you arrive at the Meadow, the restaurant that you were sent to, and it looks to be
don't mention sand.
Yeah, no, it looks to be fairly nice, fairly upscale. It is not like, it's not your 5-star black tie dining, but it's not Olive Garden, right? Like it's that's probably a US only joke. I just thought of that. It's not your local pub, right?
I see.
It's
You're not know. Olive Garden is a mid-range.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's a decent, like, imagine it like this. It's like a decent steakhouse, okay? It's not like Ruth Chris, but it's also not Longhorn, right? Like it's somewhere in between the two of them. So, there's people that are in.
Exactly what you mean.
Sorry, I only know US. You know what? I'm gonna educate myself on European chain restaurants before tomorrow, and I'll come back with better examples.
Use Nando's. That's a thing, right?
Oh, Is it a cheeky
yeah.
Nando's?
What is Nando's?
Cheeky Nando's.
Cheeky
is
Nando.
a very, very basic Portuguese/South African chicken shop.
Oh yeah, no, it's not Nando's.
It's
So
it's like, but it's like good. Like you would go there with your friends.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You go there
Yeah,
absolutely. You go there to get like decent food, like that you don't want to break the bank on.
That's true. What was the place you were saying?
The difference between Ruth Chris and Longhorn. Look,
Chris and Longhorn.
Ruth Chris is the really fancy steakhouse in
Okay,
in
apparently
Florida.
Ruth Chris is a lot nicer than Nando's.
Yes. Yeah. Ruth Chris is that's where they sell like $100 steaks. So
Yeah, that's not serving yourself. They bring.
I've had a $100 steak.
I have as well.
$200.
I'm not gonna lie, Ruth Chris is pretty fucking delicious. I've eaten there a couple times. Anyway, so it's a pretty upscale restaurant. You know, there's people that are in business wear there. There's people that are in formal attire. There's probably a couple, like, you know, a couple that's celebrating their anniversary very clearly, where like they don't normally dress up, but they're there now all dressed up, right? It's like a special dinner place for them to go to.
Dash
Yeah, no.
Looking,
Don't worry,
and a leather jacket.
I was getting to that. So then there's you, who shows up, looking like a kid straight out of high school compared to the rest of the people around.
Pretty much.
But to be honest, no one makes a remark about it, and you don't really stand out that badly. However, when you arrive, you give them your name, I assume. And you say you're here meeting someone, and they look down the list and they say, "Oh, you'll be dining in the private vista today. Very well, sir. Follow me."
Very well.
Great.
So,
He's a cougar.
they walk you through the restaurant. You can see the food smells delicious. They lead you out through like a set of French doors out onto a balcony that overlooks it faces the water, right? And so it overlooks the water, and the sun is just like setting on that side of the planet. And so it's all like very beautiful. And while you may not have stood out that much compared to everybody else in the restaurant, when you arrive here, Monica Akula is seated at the table, and she's in a stunning blue dress.
How old is Monica?
She's in her late 20s. She's in her late 20s. There's an image of her. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did.
Yeah, I saw it.
I did put an image of her here.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe she was like 40 or something.
You said middle age. That's what I assumed.
Not quite that old. Not quite that
She
old.
looks a little animu.
Yeah,
Whatever.
art styles differ, so there you go. Hits you right in the uncanny valley. So yeah, she's in this stunning blue dress that fits tight around the waist, and she looks beautiful. And she smiles as you enter, and she kind of like she kind of shakes her head, and she's like, "Perhaps I did overshoot a little bit. Maybe we should have gone somewhere else." And the host that brought you in, he says, "Miss Akula, would you like the first course in about 15 minutes?" And she says, "Yes, that'll be fine, Alfred." And she like beckons you to sit, and he leaves, and
We found the only guy in the galaxy named Alfred.
yeah, it's true.
Look out for Bruce. Somewhere around here.
He is somewhere around here. And she beckons you to sit down at the table across from her, and she sits down as well. What do you do, Dash, in that environment?
Oh, I guess the best thing he could do is get comfortable.
Okay. So you sit down and
Well,
No.
put your feet up on the table.
If only.
Yeah.
No, that would be pushing my luck.
Yeah. So I think that what I need you to do here, how do you start the conversation here? Like, what's the end game here? Obviously, you're here to find out some information about her, right? But how do you do so? Do you do that simply just via trying to get to know her?
Yes, that would be the best way.
Okay, so you're just gonna try and be charming, right? You're just gonna try and be charming, Dash. Okay.
Just a second. In the time, have we figured out what's happening?
Oh,
by
this
now,
is before you guys have figured anything out.
Or
Yeah,
has he
don't.
told us he's what he's
This is
doing?
No, he didn't tell you anything. He
Nope.
specifically
Alright.
said.
Do you guys
He's-
remember that scene from Ghostbusters where Venkman went on a date?
Yeah.
And when he came back, everybody had figured out what was going on with the god or
Hugo.
whatever. Hugo.
Yeah.
This is exactly that scene.
So I think that Dash, I need you to make me another charm check here because time has passed. However, this is the next roll, so I'm giving you that blue dice from Jax. From way upon far, he is assisting you with this. However, since it's opposed,
I would like
it's
to
not gonna be
specify that my
easy.
dice is only to be used for the gathering of information and not the gathering of punani.
Oh, don't worry. I have much in store for Dash.
Oh my God.
And so
I
this
have
is
always
this
wanted
is
to worry.
this is opposed. This is opposed. So here's the deal, Dash. If this turns into a failure, it means she is more charming than you are.
Oh,
I mean, to be fair,
I have nothing.
She probably
So-
is.
So
Something eyebrows.
in addition, I'm adding a dice to this because I gotta make sure I do this right per the way the mechanics
We're
work.
gonna end with Dash being a fucking legend or Dash having more obligation.
I feel like Dash is gonna get kidnapped, and we have to rescue him in the next session.
Oh, it's gonna
Or
be
do
a
we?
whole
Because that
fiasco
sounds
with
like
the lover
the
thing.
best
Oh, no.
outcome from this.
Yeah. So I'm adding a couple dice here that are going to be on her side that she'll be able to use. So why don't you go ahead and roll charm whenever you want to, Dash?
Yeah, force?
That's fine. I'll use one too, just for fun.
Fuck you. Come on, cheeky nandos. No!
So,
Wait, what the fuck?
Dash.
Why'd you roll force dice?
That's probably
Don't worry. Again, they're not for you, Dash.
Oh.
yeah.
So, Dash, first of all, it's very close. It is a failure. So her natural charisma begins to eat away at your defenses here.
What
However,
about her supernatural charisma.
once your defenses have eroded, it is only appropriate to do this. The night goes well. A few hours into dinner, you're laughing and joking, and you're having a great time. The alcohol that you've been consuming and she's been consuming, her cheeks begin to flush, and so do yours. And you know it's a great night. And as the party, we get this montage shot, right, of the party like doing all this research and like working and like sweating, and like there's coffee being brought out and tea, and everybody's like
excuse me,
like
it's
really
calf.
I'm sorry, there's calf being brought out and tea, and everybody is like pencil to paper, like figuring this out, and like there's a eureka moment, and there's the board with all the string, right, where you're like connecting all the dots, and like there's all this work, and then there's Dash like sitting with like a drink in his hand, like at the balcony, and the sun's just set, and you can see the orange and pink light like floating up over the like this very romantic setting, and Monica's arm is linked inside of yours, and it's just a wonderful night.
I'm willing to bet
so
that his night was way more stressful than ours.
I want to go back to the party real quick.
Uh-huh.
So when you do come to the conclusion that there's some bad juju going on here, I know somebody mentioned, hey, we should probably call Dash.
Yeah,
So I want to know who that is and how they do that.
it wasn't me, because Dash hates me.
I
Kim
don't hate
suggested-
you, I'm just indifferent about you right now. AKA, yes, I hate you.
I hate you.
Kim suggested it, but he would probably not make the call.
I don't think Jax would.
I feel like
make
it's a
that call.
Sienna kind of call.
Oh, no, it's not
Nobody wants to call Dash.
Well, it's like on Jax's last interaction with Dash, it ended a bit awkward. So I don't think that Jax would go out of
So,
it would ever think.
I will let you all know this. You all knew that Dash was going to investigate this Monica Akula.
Yeah.
You know that.
Okay.
Because all of you said to each other, hey, all right, you go figure out about this person, you go figure out this person, I'm going to go figure out about this person. So you all know that is what Dash is probably still doing. Because I don't think you've checked in at all, Dash.
Well, no, when we were going back to the ship, he said, "I'll see you guys later."
Yeah, I'll grab the comm.
Yeah.
And I'll comm Dash. Hey Dash, have you dug up any dirt on that Monaco Akula? She seems to be involved in something really shady.
So, Dash, I want you to imagine that instead of one failure, there are 4 failures there.
What? Oh.
Yeah, so for each little pip, I get to add a failure. So you are feeling very strong emotions of loving, tendering, very comfortable. You're very relaxed. You're significantly like calm, and it's probably the first time, Dash, you've like been kind of in that weird fuzzy state ever, first of all, but in a long time since you yourself have felt kind of that comfortable. And you see like the comms coming in, right?
Dash has been drugged.
Oh no.
Sure, we'll call it that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called alcohol.
I meant the.
Sure, we'll call it that.
I think he's been forced.
So, Dash, you I'm not going to take away. I'm not taking away your autonomy, but I am letting you know that this has been one of the most perfect nights that you've had in a very long time with a lovely woman who's attractive, who's into you, obviously. So I will let you decide how you respond to Zian attempting to hail you.
Discipline check to maybe my brain to tell me to wake the fuck up. Maybe.
Sure, I can do that. I'm gonna apply how badly you failed on this this charm check, though.
Can I apply a dark side to that?
Don't worry, I'm gonna apply one myself.
I'm going to flip that.
Can I apply 2 dark sides to that?
Can you fuck off?
Look, I'm invested in this failing. I really want to see what happens.
So yeah, I have applied some bad stuff every single failure that you've gotten on the previous check, this discipline check. Also, you're gonna take some conflict from this if you fail it.
Okay, no.
Ooh.
That check.
Oh.
Yeah.
She kind of like looks at it and she said, I don't know.
Do you just mute it?
He kind of like said, he looks at it and says like, sorry, I don't know who you are, wrong frequency, and he shuts it off.
Yeah, and she and Monica probably just like rests her hand on yours that's on the compad, and she's like, "You don't need that, dear."
And I feel like Zian gets a bad feeling about this right then.
Yeah, because I think Dash, the next time you have like memories of stuff, you're lying in a pretty mediocre to nice apartment, and you're just lying in the bed, and probably with a smile on your face, and that's probably where we like the scene we phase out on is the group, right? The group of 4 on the ship, like, hey, Zian's like, I can't get a hold of Dash, like holds up the receiver like, I can't get a hold of Dash.
No.
It's not that he didn't get a hold of Dash.
Well,
Wait, yeah, I was gonna ask. Is it specifically that we called Dash and didn't get through, or we called?
No,
Dash
he said
yeah,
he said wrong frequency and
Yeah.
shut it off.
Dash just like gave us the cold shoulder.
Okay, no. So, we didn't know he was going on a date, though, did we?
No.
You knew nothing.
No.
Okay.
If he answered it at any point, we could see about triangulating it.
So, well, he did answer it. Right, Dash, you did say, like, no, sorry, I think you have the wrong frequency, and then shut it off, right? That was the thing you actually said, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Okay.
he did actually say that, but then shut it off, and then you can't get a hold of him anymore.
Can I roll? Actually, I'm just gonna roll a d6. How do I do that? Just
slash roll
Slash
1d6.
roll 1d6.
Space after roll.
Okay. So Jax is going to assume that Dash has been converted.
Oh no.
Probably a good
Dash.
assumption.
So I had three options that Jax could think. One, that in his investigation somehow Dash has been convinced to like go along with what's going on, so he's become an accomplice. One, that he is getting lucky, and one, that he's still investigating. Unfortunately, the first one is what came up. So
Yeah. So
Jax is now distrustful of Dash.
that's a great place to stop for the night.
No.
Ah,
But we'll be back tomorrow.
But we'll be back tomorrow, so we have a really great entry point for tomorrow.
Yeah.
To figure out what happened to Dash. So
he's turned on us.
yeah, there's a pretty
So I think that
strong
makes
influence
sense.
on Dash. Again, he
The
can.
only thing that makes sense.
I'm not taking away his autonomy. He can walk away whenever he wants, but there'll always be that lingering thing there. And just so you know, Dash, since you failed twice there, I'm gonna give you quite a bit of conflict.
Okay.
I think 3 for each, so take 6 conflict.
Ooh.
And it's
Okay.
impossible to raise a new Jedi.
I mean,
And
for Dash it is.
Dash's been taking a lot of hits lately on his conflict or on his temperament. So this would fall into the category of like giving into your lustful emotions in this moment, right? Which obviously is a path to the dark side. So there you go. So let's talk experience. This is a great session. We found out a lot of things. Everybody can have 15 experience. Congratulations.
Sweet.
Yeah, back to 25 again.
You can totally spend it in between now and tomorrow. Feel free. And let's do conflict very quickly. So Dash, why don't you roll me /roll 1d10 minus 6.
Oh,
Hey, look at that, Dash. You still
That's
gain
it.
2 points. So increase your morality by 2.
Either way, I'm still helping.
Zian also got conflict.
Yeah, Zian also got some conflict. I didn't assign any. I would say that I don't know. How much do you think is fair for
Well,
Well,
so
that whole-
I'm gonna peg that reading the research paper is probably feeding into hatred, which is my weakness.
Yeah.
So I would say that that's probably, because I think it's like double for your weakness and strength.
Yeah.
So I'd probably say that it's at least like base of 1, so like 2, and then probably fear for Dash puts it at 3, unless
Okay.
you think I should go
No.
up more.
3 seems totally
2
fair.
for the paper, like, cause you reacted.
Well,
Yeah,
to be fair,
that's right. Let's put
Yeah.
that at 2 for 4 for 5, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Again, the dice could make anything possible in this situation. For example,
yeah.
I think that's the second one you've rolled in a row. Actually, I think you rolled a 1 last
That
week.
might have been.
if I remember correctly.
I'm still higher though.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You're still okay. So you drop some
Are you
morality.
still a paragon
I think-
of light?
I still am.
I think that this is probably representative of your desire to, like, you called it justice to everyone's faces,
Uh-huh.
but you also want some vengeance
Yeah.
for those
Yeah,
people who were put
definitely.
through this. Yeah.
So what's Dash's thing? I'm up to maximum morality. What the fuck does that mean for me?
What?
Wait. How much morality do you have? What's your morality at?
I was at 48 last time.
So
and
you're at
now...
50.
No. Yes.
That's
What
not
the hell
that's
does
not
that
maximum.
mean?
That's half.
Yeah, maximum is 100.
That's
You're
literally half.
Yeah,
So-
you are now perfectly neutral again.
Yeah.
Because remember, the first time you rolled, you got like -7 or something like that.
Yep.
You had to kind of work your way back up. So you are perfectly neutral. Your emotions are neither good nor bad. Well, I should say both good and bad.
Bad things.
Right. Yeah. Both good and bad is where your morality sits.
Yeah. It only really matters until you hit 29 or 71.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So cool. Here's the good news. We'll see everybody in exactly 20 hours for some more, and we'll try and save Dash from the clutches of the Temptress. Remember, here's the thing. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Y'all sent Dash to try and deal with the person who is directly like influential in all ways. That may have been.
I assumed that charisma v charisma would have been a thing, but I guess he lost. So
I would have been like way worse at that.
And Dash
Also,
actually he
that
wanted to take the
True.
He
Dash
picked
wanted to
that
do
one.
it. So.
Yeah.
And also, we didn't say, "Hey, go try and charm her." We said, "Investigate."
Yeah, like follow her for a day, see
Like-
what she's up to.
Can I just say, I never once interacted with my target. Everyone else
Well,
was like, "Oh,
hey.
hey there."
We know exactly.
How can I help? Can I help you please? No.
In
No,
Dash
like,
in
I was-
Dash's defense, he knows exactly what she's been up to all day and night.
In my defense,
Oh!
like
Oh jeez.
in my defense, I was thinking that these people were going to get attacked by a bounty hunter. So
Yeah, actually, I assumed that too. That's why I went to her.
yeah, that's why I talked to her
Mhm.
because I thought she was going to get attacked by a bounty hunter, and I wanted to warn her.
By
So,
sneaking into her
I'm not-
house
I'm
and
not
sitting on
saying-
her couch while she's in the shower.
I mean, that's how I warn people.
And Dash like messing around with her in the bedroom or something. I don't know.
So
It is assumed. I'm sorry.
yeah.
But
It
I
was
also wanted
fade to black.
information, so I had to sneak in.
Fade
True.
to black. Fade to black.
Fade to black. That's how I like to do it. All right. I'm gonna go, and I'll see you all in 20 hours.
Quick
Yeah.
question.
Yes.
If we want to do any shopping or buying, should we just wait and do that tomorrow?
Feel free if there's anything basic. If it's over 5 rarity, let me know.
Okay. All right. Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see you
All right,
guys
good.
later. All right, everyone. Glad you all could be here. It's been a fun night. Not a whole lot going on the screen, but certainly was a whole lot going on in the characters' lives. So, without further ado, if you're watching this live, come back tomorrow. We're going to do another session. If you're watching this on YouTube, stay tuned. There's going to be more sessions right after this. I hope you all enjoyed your time here today, and I hope to see you all again very, very soon. From all of us to you, have a wonderful night, evening, morning, afternoon, whatever it may be, in whatever part of the world you may be, and we'll see you all next time on Fractured Orders. This closes episode 14. Goodbye.